We can speak to Nicolas Tenzer, a visiting professor at Sciences Po University in Paris. Hello to you, Nicolas. Thank you for speaking to Paris Direct. On Monday, Hungary's leader, Viktor Orban, takes over the rotating presidency of the European Council. Some have called Orban pro-Russian. Others say that's missing some nuance. How would you characterize his position on this war between Ukraine and Russia?
Well, I think that basically, Orban is certainly a pro-Putin guy, but of course he also knows that he needs the EU, which is also important in this story is that before the rotating presidency of Hungary, the other EU leaders have secured at least negotiation accession talks with Ukraine and Moldova. And I think that from this point of view, that's reassuring because we cannot expect certainly the Hungarian presidency to take new initiatives regarding the support to Ukraine and the delivery of weapons. And I think that even during this presidency, all the other EU member states will do their best to just prevent Hungary to block any kind of new initiative.
So with Hungary taking over that presidency, you think we're in for a prolonged period of inaction?
Well, everything will depend, of course, of the result also of the election in France. That's a true concern because if we have the major power in the EU right now, France, who was very active in supporting Ukraine. You remember the stance of President Macron saying that he wants to send military instructors to Ukraine, that he wants to provide Ukraine with Mirage 2000 new fighter jets. Everything could be, certainly jeopardized. But if the elections of France have, I would say, a good result, it means without a full victory of National Rally, Marine Le Pen's party, then maybe I think it will be very difficult for Hungary alone, plus, let's say, Slovakia or Austria, to block, the support. We will see after Monday or mostly after the July the 7th, the second round of the election in France, what could happen.
Yeah, and even then, let's not forget, we have a U.S. presidential election in November. What happens if Donald Trump's in the White House?
Yes, that's a true concern because if we have no more support for France, if we have no more support from the US, then certainly Ukraine will be in a very difficult position because I cannot imagine that with only, let's say, the UK, Poland, plus the Baltic states and some other states, it will be certainly enough to support Ukraine until victory. And right now, also, we have this concern. I was in Kiev at the beginning of this month. Everyone say, well, that was very good to unblock, the deadlock in the U.S. Congress. We welcome all the support for the other member states. We welcome all the security agreements that we have right now. And just after that was signed a new security agreement between Ukraine and the EU. But it will be certainly not enough to reconquer the territories still occupied by Russia. And I think we need to do much more. And if we have, Trump in the White House, plus the National Rally having a majority in the House in France, certainly it will be very difficult to move forwards and basically to not only to protect Ukraine, but to make Ukraine win this war fully.
Yeah, Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, said he's drawing up what he calls a comprehensive plan for how he believes the war with Russia should end. Of course, that would likely include Ukraine's territorial integrity. The only thing is we know Putin doesn't want to negotiate. So what is the significance of Zelensky's plan? What is the point of it? Who is he really trying to address? And what's his message in it?
I think the first message is, first of all, that, of course, Ukraine wants peace. And basically, if we consider the suffering of the Ukrainian people, we have already certainly more than 100,000 people died in Ukraine because of Russia. We want peace. We are not an obstacle to peace. Certainly, Russia is, because Russia has declared this war, and basically Vladimir Putin doesn't want to end this war. It will continue whatever it takes. Even if you have 1 million servicemen, from Russia dying, in this war, certainly Putin Putin will continue. And we also know that, in the 10-point peace plan of Zelensky, and I think that the new peace conference will certainly, endorse this plan, there must be a full territorial integrity of Ukraine guaranteed by all the allies, and not only, NATO, but also some southern country. That's what we expect. Let's be very clear. First of all, if we give up on some territories, that will be a full surrender. That will be certainly a breach of international law. And it will mean that the West will have lost, any kind of legitimacy to say that it is abiding by international law. And the second thing is that we perfectly know that as long as we have Ukrainian territories occupied by the Russians, it means more torture, summary execution, deportation of children, which is a crime of genocide under the conventions of December 9th, 1948. So we cannot accept to give Mr. Putin a license to kill. And that's why we have basically not to surrender. We have to continue.
Yeah, in about 2 weeks' time, the U.S. is hosting the NATO summit. The Security Alliance will be marking 75 years since its creation there. Do you expect Vladimir Putin to send a message to hang over that anniversary?
Well, certainly, I think that Putin, will continue with, his threats, and all the narratives that the war of NATO against Russia and this kind of thing. But first of all, we have not to buy into this kind of narrative. But having said that, I am rather pessimistic because we still know that the US and Germany oppose a full membership of Ukraine to NATO right now. In Vilnius summit last year, and I was there on July 11th and 12th. Basically, it was a kind of remake of the Bucharest summit of 2008. There was no clear signal for Ukraine's accession to NATO. There was no date, no full commitment. And I think I could be very pessimistic of what, the next Washington summit will resemble. I cannot see what kind of real progress, very unfortunately, with the exception of commitment in words, will result from this summit.
Professor, thank you very much for your time. Nicolas Tenzer speaking to us. Thank you.